Hey everyone, some of you guys have seen my artwork, some of my taxidermy stuff, some of the rings and jewelry that I make. Today we're going to be doing a silver elk antler cast out of silver, and I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get our molds ready. So I had a friend of mine make these up for me. It's just done out of square tubing, and he's welded a few ears on here. And I've already got some sand packed in here already, so we're just going to prep our molds and everything. I'm going to put a little bit of sand in and then pack it all down. Throw a little bit of sand in our molds. Spread it out. And start packing it. So now we got our sand packed into our mold. I'm just going to use a little bit of a release agent so we can get the molds apart. And what we're going to do is just use a little bit of cornstarch and rub it in on our molds. And you do this on both sides. Now we take what we're going to cast. This is just a plastic elk antler that come off a toy from Cabela's or something, and it broke off or whatever, and I thought it was really cool, so I thought, well, let's cast it. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of cornstarch and rub it all over the antler, and then this just helps it come out of the sand a lot better. So I'm just going to take this antler, make sure it's nice and flat, as flat as you can get it. I'm just going to lay it into the sand and measure it out. Now, copper, gold, silver, doesn't matter what you're doing, always flows down. So you just want to try to make it flow in a nice motion and make sure you get all the ports. So I'm going to measure it out, and that's about where I want it. I've got a little 223 shell casing that works really good as a funnel. So what I do is I put this on the top and I just push it into the sand a little bit here. So what that does is it makes a funnel so I can pour the silver in. And then from there, I can measure out my elk antler right about there. And I just press it in carefully. So now after I've done that, I take my reverse mold here and I'll just lay it over top. Lining the tabs up, pressing it down until you get a nice tight seal. Make sure everybody's happy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pound it. Make sure I get that sand all the way around what I'm casting. Flip it over and do the other side. And now we should have a perfect cast elk mold, as you should see here. So now what we're going to do is just clean up the mold a little bit and we're going to cast. Other thing we got to do now is once we've poured, or we're going to pour the silver into our mold, silver needs to go in and the air needs to come out. So we have to give some vents so when the air's coming out, we don't just get an air bubble, because if it has nowhere to go, then the silver will just clog. So what we got to do is on each one of these points is we got to make a breather hole, and we just take a little piece of copper wire and we poke a hole in each one all the way through the form to the other side, and that allows the air to come out and the silver to go in. And we do this for wherever we think the silver is going to hang up. So basically every point on the elk antler. So now we got all our holes in, they've come all the way through the other side. I'm going to put our mold back together. Make sure we get it the right way. Put it together, give it a little press. My hammer. tap it all together so it's nice and tight. Give the sand a little tap just to squash all the air out of it. And now we're ready to melt some silver. So what I'm using for silver is you can buy this at just about any local hardware store. It's actual silver solder. And it's got a really low melting point. It's like 92% silver and then a couple of other alloys, but it's lead free. And this is key because if you're going to use this stuff for jewelry making, or you're going to be handling it a lot, you don't want to have any lead on your hands. So this stuff is great. They use it for copper pipes, for drinking water and everything else. So it's perfectly safe for you to use in your everyday life or whatever. But and it's silver, low melting point, really easy to work with. So what I've done is I've just taken a bunch of this stuff and I've cut it up and put it into my little crucible here, and gonna melt it. So I'll bring it in nice and close so you can see what's going on. You can see it's starting to melt already. It starts to get all liquidy. Gonna add a few more pieces. Get my mold ready. Gonna heat this up. Heat up my mold a little bit. And in one motion, we're just going to pour it in. Now we'll give this a few minutes to cool off, and then we'll pull the mold apart and see what we got. All right, so it's been a few minutes. We're gonna pull this apart and see what we have. Mold. That side. Carefully pull it apart. And there we have, in sand, a casted elk antler. So with a little bit of finishing up, we'll pull it out of the sand, see what happens. It's probably still a little warm. Careful not to burn yourself. So now we're just going to pull it out of the sand carefully. And there's our elk antler. Doesn't look like much now, but wait till I clean it up. So a little bit of brushing, take our side cutters, and then these little cool little things on the sides of the antlers, this is where our air holes were. Just push the air out and the silver's followed in behind it, which gave us a really good cast. So we just go along and we trim all of these off. And you can save that silver for the next casting. Now we just clip off that extra piece of silver we made that funnel to get the silver into the mold. Carefully, just give it a little snip. And then we can save that as well. And there's our elk antler. Now we just gotta clean up the sharp edges and the excess off the cast. And then we'll go over the shining process. So what I've done is I've shut a light off so you can see the detail that's gone into this antler. Try to get the light right. There we go. And it's all cleaned up now. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it on a buffing wheel with some polishing compound that puts a patina into it, and then it gives it all the nice black in the veins of the antlers and everything. So we'll show you what that looks like. Now we have it all shined up and we put the detail into it. So now we're just going to bend it to shape. Elk antlers have a unique style to them. I've got a special pair of pliers here that I use to bend. And we're just going to put the curvature back into the antlers. I got a piece of tape on my pliers so I don't mark up the silver, because it is soft. And there we have our antler. I'll take some pictures of this so you can see this. So if you liked what you've seen and you want one of these, please like and share my video, and at random I will choose a very lucky winner to get one of these. I'm also going to do a little bit of experiment. I'm going to build another one and then see if I can put them together and actually make an elk rack. So we'll see what happens there, and if I can get it on for a picture, I will put it on. Thanks for watching, and get in the woods.